It was 1994, I think around the fall of the year, September. And I lived in North Florida. And I had really not given any of this any thought. I had seen some programs about, unidentified objects and whatnot. But I'd really not really given it any thought. There had been something that had happened at my home uh, where some people had witnessed a light come through the front door, a white ball of light. I didn't witness it. I was there at the time, but I didn't get a chance to see it. I wasn't in the room that happened, but I've heard about it. Probably 3 nights later, I think it was 3 nights later, 2 or 3 nights later, I think it was 3 nights, I had an episode where I woke up and I was completely paralyzed except for my eyeballs. I could not, I could not move a muscle. I could move my eyes around and I could sense something in the room with me, and had a lot of fear. I didn't know why. I actually tried to call out, but my voice, I couldn't bring any words out. I remember actually trying to call out, but I couldn't get my voice to work at all. But I was definitely awake, and I was moving my eyes around, and I was looking at the room, and it was dark and everything. And the next thing I know, it's morning. I'm waking up, and the memory's really fresh. Uh, I'm just like, what was that? Why did I do that? I never did that before. The sleep paralysis. Later on, I found out that was a possibility, but with the fact that they had witnessed that ball of light come in, I believe it all was tied into something. I just don't know what. Probably 3 years later in northern Ohio, I lived there in the Youngstown area from 1997 to 2001. And then it was 97 and 98. I and some buddies had went out to a reservoir to do some night fishing. We had saw what we thought was a light on a tower flashing because it stayed in one spot, and it was flashing real bright red. But it started moving. After about 30 minutes, it actually started moving, and it actually moved out over the lake. Then went over some trees on the lake shore and dropped straight down behind the trees. Approximately a week later, we were fishing in the same spot again, and we saw the very same thing again. And we thought that was really, really, really strange. It was around 9:15 in the evening, and it was had just got dark. I remember saying, "There's that red light again," and they were like, "Yeah, ha ha, yeah, we see it over there. Yeah, it's probably going to start moving." And sure enough, about 15 minutes later, it started moving, and it went across the sky in the same path and trajectory, and then dropped behind the trees, and done the very same thing. It was definitely something weird. The very first photograph I took that showed anything anomalous was in 2007, on August 16, 2007, at 6:22 p.m. And we were getting ready to have a pretty violent thunderstorm. I had just purchased a new digital camera maybe 6 months before, and I like taking nature scene, nature pictures and pictures of the sky, cloud formations or whatever. There was a pretty nasty cloud formation, and there was lightning that was going cloud to cloud, and I thought wouldn't it be great to capture a lightning bolt? And I was standing out. I was actually at my sister's home, and I was standing out on her front deck, just trying to snap a picture of a lightning bolt of this cloud. I never did. My brother-in-law actually did get a lightning bolt on that cloud, but I never. But what I did get was 8 objects that looked like they were in some type of echelon formation or some type of fighter formation. I don't know what kind of formation it was. It was some type of formation, but there were 8 objects in the photograph, and they don't resemble any type of aircraft that we know about. That photograph was examined by MUFON, and they couldn't identify the objects in the photograph. I've had people tell me they were birds. I've had stealth fighters. I've heard the whole gamut of explanations on about all the photographs. I think they're more in a monitoring position right now. They're monitoring the damage that's going on with the environment as far as the ozone layer, as far as contamination of the waterways, just the general pollution that's being spread. People that's actually inhaling this pollution. We're destroying the earth pretty much. Photo that I snapped in Pike County, Kentucky, over the co-tipple. You know, I believe they were there monitoring. There was an explosion in Raleigh County, West Virginia, on April 5th, 2010, at the Upper Big Branch mine that Massey Energy owned, and you know the Mine Safety and Health Administration says it was coal dust. The company says it was methane. And no one can determine what the ignition source was. And the photograph that I snapped in Pike County, Kentucky, was the same day as that explosion. The object that I got at that tow tipple, I snapped that photograph 4 hours before the explosion occurred in Raleigh County, West Virginia. It killed the 29 miners. There was 3 objects in the photograph. The main object in the center of the photo is you know, it's the biggest object apparently in the photograph, but there's 2 other objects. I don't know whether they had a direct link to the explosion. I mean, people are going to say that I'm crazy, but it's very coincidental that I snapped that photograph the same day as the coal mine explosion and 4 hours before, only 90 miles, approximately 95 miles away from where the explosion happened. I have a photograph of an orb near Chesapeake, Ohio. It's pretty amazing photograph. It's clear, and there's chemtrails going all over the sky. This orb is right in the center of the picture. I didn't see that orb. I took the photograph of the trails, and the orb was there. It was around 9:15 in the morning on November 30th. Now, I photographed something close to the ground. It was not on the ground, and it was actually pretty close. It was maybe 50 foot from me, but it was another orb, and it was kind of it was green, and I've seen it. I've seen the green. It was a green light, and I just took a picture. It was just a tiny green light. It wasn't very big at all. I ran across a report from Ashland that was actually reported to UFOs Northwest in March of 2011. Supposedly, this gentleman saw a green cylindrical object that was hovering maybe 200 feet off the ground here in Ashland, where I'm located. And he said the thing dripped something out of the bottom of it, and it was metallic dust that actually had fell onto the top of his van. And he said the thing, he watched it for 10 seconds maybe, and a police officer witnessed it too. It took off after about 10 seconds and went through a tree line over top of a ridge, and had actually broke some branches out of the top of the trees, and they couldn't get up to see because it was almost straight up vertical, up and down. But he did have MUFON come in, and MUFON supposedly, according to him, collected this metallic dust that had collected on top of his van, supposedly from the whatever was coming out of the bottom of this thing. I snapped a picture in 2008 of a green cylindrical object. His description of this object almost matches my photograph to the T. It's happening in the same town that I live in, and it's striking similarities to what I photographed. Some people have said that I'm just lucky. I'm not so sure if it's just luck. Maybe they want me to photograph them. I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, it's super strange though that I'm able to get so many photographs.